Welcome everyone to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili, and today I'm going to talk about a Super Deluxe Edition box set, another Black Sabbath one. I did Volume 4, and today I'm going to do Technical Ecstasy. Now this is the album that came out in '76, and it was the second to the last album before our Ozzy departed the band. And this was been known as the most progressive album, and it's very different compared to the old Sabbath albums that came prior to that. And reasoning behind that is actually it was Tony Iommi. He really pretty much wanted to do a 180 of the band. I mean, just from the cover, it's white, and you know, he looked at the old album covers, it's always black and everything, and he felt like the band was in a metal ghetto. And not that they were trying to escape their metal roots, but he was opening up for something more creative. Now, the album, I guess this would be considered Tony's original Black Sabbath solo album, if you want to look at it that way, because years later, you know, after the Born Again album with Ian Gillan, when he left, and then, you know, the label said Tony wanted to put out a solo album called Seven Star, but, you know, the label said the brand is Black Sabbath, will sell more with that name. So it's Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi. There was nobody original in the lineup. And so, you know, started the whole Iommi crusade, where, you know, he would have, you know, different singers in the 80s and everything, come back with Dio, sometimes with Dehumanizer, but it was just always, you know, a Tony Iommi thing. This album is with the original lineup, but Tony is at the helm of this, because at the time, the Sabbath issues were like they had problems with their label, they were tax exiles, and they fired their management, they were broke, and so they had to make an album and tour in order to make money. So I'm going to go through some of the things that are on here, first of all, because like all the Super Deluxe editions, you know, they come with a poster, a detailed book of what was going on at the time, and here's the poster for Black Sabbath Give You Technical Ecstasy, and it's produced by Black Sabbath. And back on that cover art, you know, it was like they said that they wanted something different, and so they got the two robots going up and down an elevator, and they're kind of falling in love, like love at first sight kind of thing. So, not that, you know, they're trying to, you know, get rid of the whole dark imagery of Sabbath, but just, you know, they kind of lightened up musically, and a lot of the things, the subject matter of this album, what they're writing about. And it comes also with this tour program from the tour, 76, 77. It's a replica of it. It's really cool. And there's a picture of a cartoon strip of making fun of the album cover. And some good information in here as well. Pictures of Tony. And they all have this little computer thing going on. So, and in this album they bring in the keyboardist, and that was another thing about the Sabbath sound on here. And what Tony said is that it really opened him up as a guitar player, and, you know, he was kind of going into the realm of what Ritchie Blackmore's been through with Deep Purple. He has a keyboard player playing chords, so he doesn't have to play chords anymore. He could, you know, work on his lead solos, which he explains about it in this book, which is really cool. This book is really great. And so you'll hear him doing a lot of different things creatively with the guitar. In the early albums, Ozzy would sing to his riff like an Iron Man. And there are songs on here where Ozzy is just having to, sing on top of whatever Tony's throwing out, and it's not just like singing over his riff. It's, there's a lot of more complexities in what he's doing on the guitar. And so like I said, it was a different progressive sound, what they're doing in here. They're taking kind of like the experimentation of Volume 4. And they still have the heaviness, of course, of those earlier albums. That can never escape Sabbath. But, they're actually entering new terrain. And this book here is really cool. It talks about, from the album artwork to the making of the album to, the singles, the musical direction that I'm talking about, the tour and everything. It's really comprehensive. It's a really good addition. So let's get to the finals. Now we have Black Sabbath Technical Ecstasy Outtakes and Alternative Mixes. Now these are done by Steven Wilson. There is a new one thing about this box set. It does include an album of a remix by Steve Wilson, but these are these alternative mixes that didn't make the album. They're really good, but not as good as the final product that he does on the album. And it's unfortunate that the new mix of Technical Ecstasy is not released separately. You have to go and get this box set in order to hear it, and it's night and day. And it's there's a lot of things that you couldn't really hear in the early mixes. It's muddy, and like for example, like on Dirty Women, at the end, you hear Ozzy doing these background vocals that sound very Beatle-esque, while Iommi's just going off on this solo, and it's really cool. And then when you hear the regular version of it, you can kind of faintly hear it, but you can't really make it out what that is. You can kind of hear, that's Ozzy back there, but what is he saying? But it's more clear and present. It's really cool. And the drums and the bass, it's awesome. This is, one thing about the Sabbath Super Deluxe editions, they always put live concert material from that tour, from that album, which is cool. And that's what I look for in a Super Deluxe edition, is like whether they got the B-sides and the outtakes, and they have, the concert that went with it. And this is a double gatefold. So they start off with Symptom of the Universe, War Pigs, and Gypsy, which is from Technical Ecstasy. Then you go back to the beginning, Black Sabbath, and All Moving Parts Stand Still. That's another new one at the time. Dirty Women, drum solo / guitar solo. And you got Electric Funeral, Snowblind, and Children of the Grave. So this is one of the reasons why I get these Super Deluxe editions, because I want to hear how they interpreted those songs of that album at the time, and how they play the older material, and this is a really good live set right here. Now here comes the new mix. Now it's sort of like the same cover, but it's more of a negative or darker color scheme. And like I said, this is probably another good reason to get this box set, because it's, like I said, it's night and day, and the drums sound really good on this. The drums and the bass, you can actually hear the drums and bass, which is really good. And it's unfortunate there's like a lot of great albums that are just suffer from like a bad mix, and this is one of them. And this was like wasn't really, it's never like name checked as like one of the best Sabbath albums, but after listening to this, and even Tony says in that book, you have to give it 2 or 3 listens before it really sinks in. But then it really helps if the mix is really good. So I'm just hearing this album, and it's so varied. There's so many different. There's 8 songs on here. Backstreet Kids, of course, is just the first song on here sounds very Zeppelin, sounds very immigrant song, but and then the keyboards come in, and the keyboards on this record doesn't overshadow the power and the heaviness of Sabbath. It kind of enhances it more. Not more, you hear something like later on in the 80s, Ozzy's doing Mr. Crowley, and you got this strong keyboard presence, and there are some things that, and it's Rick Wakeman from Yes doing these sounds, and so he's really skilled, and he knows when to come in and when to, just back up Tony and make it really full, and but not overstepping his boundaries, and it's a great sound with the keyboards. You Won't Change Me. See, there's another one where it's heavy, just like the reminiscent of the old Sabbath. They still have that in here. It's All Right, which is them going into the soft rock realm, and it's Bill Ward, the drummer, singing it. It's a great song. I can't believe that it even mentions that in the book about how it was released as a single, but didn't really make it in the realm of a hit as far as being a nice soft rock hit, because this is still the time of Seals and Crofts and Firefall and that kind of thing, and this song is kind of hitting on that that surface, and it should have been more bigger than it was, and it was good that years later Guns N' Roses covered the song and Axl played it on the piano. They talk about it in here how they liked his version. It was on their live album, and because that song hasn't been given enough credit, and it's worthy listen to. It's All Right by Bill Ward. And then you got Gypsy, which is going into the drumming on that is amazing. It's very progressive, and this is one of those songs where Ozzy is not having to sing to Tony's riff anymore, and what Tony's doing on here is really, really out there. And the next side starts off with All Moving Parts Stand Still. That's a song that Geezer wrote about cross-dressing politicians. That's what it's about. So it's that's a really cool song. Rock and Roll Doctor. That has that little 70s American vibe to it. It's almost sounding like Kiss, but then, old Kiss, and then it has 70s Kiss, and then it has like cowbell in there. It's just like a different, like I said, a different realm where they're going and trying. And the thing is, it's not like them trying something, and it's like they're really going for it. Even exploring these new different sounds and different kind of genres, whether it's soft rock or whatever. They're not really caring how it's going to be received, because they're kind of like not wanting to be that Black Sabbath band anymore. In a sense, they want to be this is something new, which brings us to She's Gone, which is just, it's kind of reminiscent of, in the sense of the Masters of Reality song, Solitude. The mood never changes, but instead of it's a slow, dark number, but it has orchestra arrangements around it, and that's it, and just an acoustic guitar and Ozzy's voice, and it's very chilling, and it's so they're kind of bringing still that kind of mood, but they're bringing in different things, instrumentation, orchestras, and everything, and very effective, and the way the track listing is it works. And it brings you back to Dirty Women. And like I said, that one, that's Tony Iommi's opus, where as far as guitars leads go. And it was the one song that he brought back on the 1999 reunion tour, they still played Dirty Women, which was great. And so this is the new mix, and this is one of the, if anything, you know, to get this and the live stuff, amazing, you know. I actually, you know, have reconsidered and put like Technical Ecstasy as like one of my, you know, it's in the top 4. it's gonna be up there, or top 5 of the Black Sabbath albums, you know. It's always been kind of like not underappreciated, but it just went unnoticed, and of course it comes with the remaster album of it as well. So so you got the you know, the new mix, the live stuff, you know, the book, you know, and the tour book of the tour. It's a great, you know, package as far as the Black Sabbath ones go. My favorite one, of course, is Volume 4. This would be the next one. I got the Sabotage one and the Paranoid one. I'll do a video on them sometime. But you know, going through them all, you know, I you know, went through the Technical Ecstasy, and it was just like, wow, you know, and it was just pretty much, you know, like what Tony said. I played it a few times, you know, and just really was amazed by it, you know, and just, you know, the musicianship and everything. It's a different Sabbath. You know, you get some of the same elements of what makes Sabbath great. You know, you can take Sabbath away from the heaviness, but you can't take the heaviness away from Sabbath. And so that will always be there. But as they still explore new things, you know, like soft rock with Bill Ward singing too, and just having him sing, that was great, because he has an amazing voice, and it really works on this number. So that's my video today on Black Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy Super Deluxe Edition. You know, go out and get it. You know, it's really, and you know, if you're just all into the earlier stuff, that's fine. But you know, if you want to just, you know, even go on a streaming service and just try to, you know, listen to this music and what they were doing, and you know, the story behind it is great. And so, you know, comment on it if you have this, and what your thoughts about Technical Ecstasy. You know, like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you like the content, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.